Hello and greetings, fellow StarCrafters. PGL Miltcraft here with a best of 5 from the tournament Antec Attack, actually. And this is going to be between the purple Zerg player roxkisLZ, who's actually a live Zerg. Those of you who know who live Zerg is, member of the team Roxkis, or Radical Online Extremists, and which is in fact a foreign team, by the way. And his opponent is going to be none other than TSL Polt. And those of you who don't necessarily or follow the GSL but don't necessarily know what it is, the GSL is basically the most prestigious StarCraft tournament that there is, and it just has the highest level of play, in my opinion, and many players' opinions. And of course, it's very difficult to qualify for, especially into Code S, which is the more prestigious version. In fact, the whole point of Code A is simply so that you can qualify up into Code S, and it's very difficult to do so, especially for foreign players. But they did announce seeded. They do have 2 spots open in Code S just for seeded players, and they did choose TSL Polt to be one of those members to be seeded into the tournament. So even though he didn't actually qualify for it, they did just go ahead and place him into it, which is very good, as he is a very high quality player and a lot of fun to watch because he's so incredibly good at micro and just kind of control of his units. And I mean, he's just one of the best Terrans there is, and that's just basically the truth. The other player seeded, by the way, was actually Naniwa, and that's also very exciting because he's going to be the only foreign player actually being able to participate in Code S. Huck actually got excruciatingly close to getting into Code S in the up and down matches, those of you who are watching those at all, and unfortunately he barely fell out, actually, with, OGS Finn losing the last game to what's his name? Virus, actually. And unfortunately, because he lost that game to Virus, it ended up that Huck was the number 3 in that up and down matches, and you need only the top 2 players qualify for those particular 6 up and down matches. So Huck did not qualify for Code S, and that's quite unfortunate for him and for people who are generally Huck fans in general is what I was going to say, but that would be slightly redundant. But for those who are in fact Huck fans, all right, just to talk about these builds a little bit, we have. It looks like it's probably going to be Reactor Expand from TSL Polt, very common build, almost always the build basically that Terran players will do against Zergs, especially Korean Terran players. Meanwhile, we do have a hatch first coming up for roxkisLZ. I did see exactly the timing on the pool, but that's not going to be too relevant because his opponent did not opt for any sort of aggressive play like a 2 racks, a double 11 racks or something like that. So it is going to be a little while before we see any sort of aggression. This Marine is actually coming across, as well as this SCV, so it's very possible that TSL Polt will start a bunker right here, and actually, nope, looks like that he's not going to do that, and actually he's sending the Marine home as well once he sees the pool time in there. But this way he can confirm that his opponent did in fact go for a hatch first, even though he probably suspected it, as that's what most Zergs do in these sorts of situations anyway. Now, I don't think I talked about this map very much. This map is Antiga Shipyard. It is the new version of Antiga Shipyard, which does not have gold patches right here. Although, and this is kind of a smiley face right here as well, like jagged teeth or something like that. So there are, so this is basically a regular 4th base, and it is a 4th base that actually is taken a decent amount of the time by players. Ooh, that's kind of interesting. TSL Polt's actually opting to build his command center inside. I'll finish the thought on gold bases in just a second. I don't know. Normally Terran players would go ahead and just build it out there, especially in this map, because there isn't really a good location. I guess you could build it right here, maybe. That would be a little bit closer to the expansion, but it looks like he is not feeling safe enough to do that. He wants to be afraid, or he is afraid, rather, of a little bit of roach aggression from his opponent, so he just kind of wants to be on making sure that he's not taking any sorts of damage. And actually, we do see a roach warren coming down from Live Zerg, so it's very possible that Live Zerg will try to do some a little bit of aggression right there. But this is just a regular expand instead of a gold, which it used to be. The gold was kind of interesting, but also kind of not interesting in the sense that a Zerg player against a Protoss who is Forge Fast Expanded could just go ahead and take that right away, or a Terran player could take it and then just drop a bunch of mules on it, which those were patched actually, so mules no longer provide any extra minerals, rather, from gold minerals, those of you who didn't know that. And so now mules just get the regular 270 minerals from gold minerals and only bring back 30 each time instead of the, it's 40% more than 30, which is 12 more, so 42 resources that they did. So that hopefully means, oops, I paused the game just a little bit there, but hopefully that means that we will see more gold minerals in the future. In the meantime, though, most of the tournaments are using this non-golded map, or non-golded, yeah, I guess map version of Antiga Shipyard. But in general, the map is very easy to take 3 bases on. As you can see here, there's one kind of central choke point which allows you to defend your 3 bases. These rocks also aid in defending your third right there, and you can keep your army relatively static at your third. And that'll provide you a little bit of defense here. You can see he just went ahead and got 4 roaches, and that's just kind of something to help against Hellion aggression. It also helps if your opponent is going for any sort of double reactive Hellions. But you can see that even roaches are not immune to the Hellions. You can see that one burning slowly as it twitches to the ground, which is kind of sad to watch, actually. So, yeah, maybe you shouldn't watch roaches too quickly when they're dying to flame like that. Though I do have to mention that I love the death animations in StarCraft 2. I know that, like, I keep mentioning, like, all these things that StarCraft 2 that I really like, but definitely that's one of them. Automaton 2000 is another one. I don't think we had any robot critters in StarCraft Brood War, and so it's just going to be kind of interesting. We're going to go ahead and switch to the views here. Just, I don't know, just kind of mess around with it. And looks like the third is now starting for Live Zerg right here. I don't think he actually, no, he does not actually have a macro hatch, which is kind of interesting because I think that third is slightly later than normal for Zergs that do not get macro hatches right here. Looks like he did lose a Hellion as well, but did do a little bit more damage to additional Roach. Was not able to take out that Roach right now, and we're going to have to kind of see what kind of tech he settles into. Almost certainly he's going to be going for Marine Tank. That's basically what all Terrans do against Zergs, except for if you're meching, but that's pretty rare out of those sorts of these sorts of circumstances, and pretty much under any circumstances. Looks like he is getting a couple of medevacs out. I will not be surprised to see some drops coming out as well. I do believe, yes, he has finished Stim, and he is building a supply depot wall right here. Very nice to see that. It allows you to basically, helps you win a base trade scenario is one of the main things. It also makes it so that, like, if the Zerg is trying to all-in you with some sort of Roach Baneling attack, then they're going to go have to set everything against you in order to try to take you out. We also see a double evolution chamber here from roxkisLZ Live Zerg, and so I think that means that as soon as this hatchery turns into a lair, which by the way, this is a very late lair timing, which means that he was going for a heavily defensive and economic build most likely, but we are going to see Roach Tech most likely, just because that's kind of the style of the Zerg players who like to go for melee and combat shield, or melee and carapace rather, at the same time. Looks like a little bit of aggression from the Terran player. He will have 4 Banelings up, but no speed, unfortunately. These Zerglings are going to go out and trap a lot of the Marines, though. I think he's going to have to cause an emergency hookup. Oh, no, looks like he's barely able to kill another Zergling to be able to get away. Able to focus on the rest of the Banelings, actually, and then able to chase the Roaches away as well. He does have 3 remaining Banelings and is producing 14 more Zerglings, but he is quite low on units right now, and he's going to take a good amount of damage from this attack. Oh, Banelings not quite able to land very well there. Live Zerg should have been able to slide that Baneling slightly farther into the Marine counter, or possibly it was shot down on its way. I didn't quite see it targeted though, but it's very possible that it was. So these units are going to move forward and kill a decent amount of drones right there. It is going to try to target down the hatchery, but that's probably not going to happen. It's going to take too long at this point, but they are have a nice little wall here provided by the minerals right here. While the units are low on health, finally able to take the rest of those out as a result of that. That was a very devastating attack, actually, as it ended up doing about 1,000 more damage in minerals and gas than he actually received in return, and meanwhile helped TSL Polt secure his expansions and knew no aggression would be coming as he was engaging that attack, and as his opponent was actually didn't even have an attacking units to really engage in that attack. So we go ahead and take a look at the worker count. We see that the Zerg players only have 12 workers, which is actually a very low amount at this point in time in the game. Looks like a creep is going to be cleared here. Very nice move from TSL Polt. Not sure. Oh, the scan's just barely not in range to see that last tumor. That's very unfortunate, as he is not going to be able to see that the tumor right there. Then that actually basically makes the rest of getting this creep a little worthless, because it's going to recede a little bit, but all roxkisLive Zerg has to do is just go ahead and place another one there. And it looks like he's going to clear up some more creep over here. That one is close enough to get the farthest creep tumor right there, and so it's just going to be a very good job from him. Looks like, go ahead and switch back to the production tab. Baneling speed is on the way. We are seeing Investor Tech at this point in time, as I was saying. Oh, very nice Baneling kits. I was going to deal a lot more damage to these Marines right here. It's not going to fully clean them up, but he does have a number of additional Banelings as well as Zerglings on the way. But this kind of shows you just how powerful medevacs are. When you have 4 medevacs and 5 Marines, you can still deal a decent amount of damage, although it looks like the rest of these Marines are going to be taken out despite the fact that they were put into the little tiny corner right there, and it looks like he's just going to pick those up and go on home. Very nice pressure from TSL Polt as he expands and takes that third. Is going to be doing a good job on his opponent right there. It looks like a Spire is now coming up as a follow-up to those Infestors, as well as it's also worth noting that 2-2 is on the way as well. I believe the Terran player only has one engineering bay. Where is it? Oh, there it is. He does only have one engineering base, so he is going to be down a lot of upgrades at this point in time, and that's going to make his Marines very ineffective against these Zergs right now. And actually, that's going to be basically the one major area right now where roxkisLZ is way ahead, is actually going to be the upgrades right now. And I would expect, yeah, he is getting a hive. Actually, there's about 60 seconds, 40 seconds left, I suppose, on that hive, and I would almost guess that I am guessing that the Spire is going to actually be turned into a greater Spire. You can see that they're timed out almost perfectly, and actually they have the same build time, which is something I didn't know before. Now, this is going to be the most interesting part, though. Taking a fourth is basically the hardest thing that a Zerg player is able to do on this map. 3 bases is very easy. The 4th base gets a little bit more difficult. You can build it either here in the middle, but unfortunately the Terran player can easily control the middle right here, and then with siege tanks be able to siege down upon that expansion to stop it from mining. You can take these side expansions, but they can be dropped on quite easily, especially since he did not opt to go for any sort of mutilus tech to be able to pick off those banelings, or those drops over there. He is still going to be opting for this expansion and possibly be able to hold it right now. We do see that Polt has added a second engineering bay and is now getting weapons level 2. However, as soon as he gets enough minerals, I would expect to see weapons and carapace level 3 going up for roxkisLZ, although Live Zerg might be opting to use his gas on Broodlords right now. Nope, there's the carapace and the melee attack upgrade. I heard a scan. There it is. And he sees the hive tech, he sees the spine crawlers. These are very nice. As I was saying, if you don't go mutilus tech, then it's very easy to drop on you. But if you build a bunch of spines and spore crawlers at your bases, then it allows you to basically hold down the fort against those drops, and then allows you to move out with the rest of your army in the same way that missile turrets allows you to do that with Terran units as well. Now, Polt is going to be moving out here. I think this is a smart move, as long as he's able to get a pretty good engagement off before the Broodlord tech really goes off, because the upgrade situation is really only going to get worse, at least before it gets better. He is going to be able to kill off a decent amount of creep as well, and is going to get a good siege tank spread. He wants to make sure not to go too deep into the creep as he slides on forward, because the banelings on creep are faster than stiff Marines. But it looks like a counterattack is going to be happening from roxkisLZ, and there are a number of units right here for Polt that are actually there to defend, but it looks like they're just basically going to be ignored. He's trying to build 3 additional starports. I'm not exactly sure what kind of tech he's going to. It'll be very interesting to see what he ends up going with. It's very possible we could see battle cruisers. I don't know. That's a really good question. Oh, it's for the Vikings. I'm not even thinking right now. Of course it's for the Vikings. And the reason he gets that many starports right now is because of, oh, very nice trap there from these banelings. He has lifted the command center. That command center was not canceled right here, and we're just going to have to watch to see exactly how this combat goes. Unless it goes very well for TSL Polt, he could end up being in a lot of trouble right here. But the Viking, he needs a lot of Vikings right now for these Broodlords. So it's a very quick hive tech for LZ. And it looks like TSL Polt does almost have enough. Nice fungal is going to do some more damage to those Marines. The Marines are able to stem up and keep attacking the Broodlords. However, when they drop more Broodlings as well as the additional Zerglings and the huge upgrade advantage that he has right now, he is actually going to go ahead and let him slide on, or force TSL Polt to pick up and slide on out of there. And unfortunately, there's only one Corruptor left, so you can't really chase the Medivacs, and no Mutalisks, of course, to chase the Medivacs away. But I think a lot of damage was done in that counterattack over here in the upper right-hand corner. If we go to the workers killed tab, we can see that he has killed 33 workers, which is so many. On the income tab, we can see that he is down to 50 harvesters, which actually isn't too bad for a Terran player, but it is when you have to rebuild the entirety of your army. Although, noticeably, the Zerg player is actually not... Wow, actually, I don't think LZ's droned up enough, basically at all. Like, look at how low his resources are, even though he had just basically won a very large engagement against his opponent there. And it looks like he's going to be opting for some aggression right here, but he's going to have to be very careful in the way that he actually is able to take this aggression right now. His opponent is not producing any Vikings, which is kind of interesting. As, yeah, there we go. Now we see his Vikings. He already had seen the Broodlords. Looks like enough of these tanks are not sieged up as well. That's partially because of the Broodlords, but it looks like the attacking Zerglings and Banelings are able to deal a ton of damage to his opponent as 3-3 is now finished. So he is now up, I guess he's up, yeah, 1-1 on those Marines. Another fungal, very nice fungal. hitting both the medevacs and the Marines, as well as some infested Terrans are going to be able to come out, and it looks like Live Zerg is in fact going to take this game, and TSL Polt is going to have to GG out of it. Very nice game from Live Zerg, as, I mean, I would say, I mean, I guess it was basically an aggressive strategy. It was almost a Broodlord timing attack, if that's a way to look at it. TSL Polt did push out, which then allowed LZ to counterattack, so it didn't necessarily have to be aggressive, but it ended up working out very nicely to him, as it did catch TSL Polt off guard, as he was not expecting Broodlords that early. Obviously, he didn't have enough starports to create those Vikings, which is why he tried creating so many additional ones. And then, of course, the Zergling counterattack then prevented him from really doing that and establishing his economy, and then Live Zerg was able to take advantage of that and just take on TSL Polt. So a very nice game from both of these players. And we'll move on to game number 2. This is PGL Minecraft signing off.